October 25th of 2019 was a special day. Not only did I get a Pikachu, but it was also the day that Modern Warfare came out. And before I say any more, I want to quickly thank Miguel for this vid idea, whatever, and sorry for taking so damn long to do it. I started writing this script back in November, and after just one sentence, I just took a hiatus and recently just went back into it. I did plan to post this video on Christmas, but shit kept getting delayed and delayed, just like Cyberpunk, and I just couldn't post it on Christmas. But fuck it, here it is. And by the way, fuck the Boss Bot 00. Isn't that right, Oscar?
Yeah, the buzz was using.
Thanks, Oscar. And now, Bravo 6, going dark.
Going dark.
Alright, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have a weird relationship with this game. I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I mean, it's alright. No, but seriously, I had high hopes for this game to the point where I actually pre-ordered it. I've actually never pre-ordered a game before, and this was the first time I've ever pre-ordered a Call of Duty game specifically, or just any games in general. But so obviously, once you pre-order the game, you have access to the beta and whatnot. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the game a lot. I enjoyed the beta and the alpha so much. I remember me and the boys just jumping on 2v2 gunfight alphas and switching like who would go with who, and shit was mad fun. But then later on the beta would come out and that shit was so fucking fun. Then the game came out and oof. Even the relationship with me and Modern Warfare is abusive. Though she beats me and puts me down, I can't help but always come back. But seriously, the game was such a clusterfuck. Once the game came out, I was looking forward to two things, and it was the multiplayer and the campaign. Since the previous game at the time, being Black Ops 4, didn't have a campaign due to the fact that they replaced it for Blackout. But I wanted to play the fuck out of the campaign, and fuck, was it a blast, until I replayed it and realized it, man. I think I lost a kidney from all the drinking I had to ooze the pain. But for real, I want to talk about Modern Warfare in 4 different categories. First, I want to talk about the campaign, then the multiplayer, then Spec Ops, and then finally Warzone. I swear, a game cannot come without its own variation of its battle royale. But anyways, back to the point. So let's talk about the campaign. Okay, let's get the condom off and start off by saying that the campaign is really good. I enjoyed the campaign the first time I played it, and the graphics were just amazing. I loved the starting mission where you play as a CIA operative named Alex, and you infiltrate a base containing an illegal gas that could most likely be used in chemical warfare. But yeah, you shoot Batman and you take the gas and you get ambushed by another group who has the same goal, but they want the gas for themselves and use it against everyone, basically starting World War III. That was a brief explanation of the first mission you play, and to be honest, it was an amazing hook. I got intrigued into the story, and the thought of the good guys would get the gas back, and it's crazy to think that the time of the story was taking place like modern time, which means that it was taking place in 2019. Throughout the story, you may play as other characters like Farah and Little Farah, and sometimes Kyle Garrick, who went through the Michael Jackson phase but in reverse. And there's also this controversial mission that, and they're this and this. I mean, he told me to shut the kid up, what the fuck? Anywho, storytelling wise, it was well told and played out perfectly. There was never a time where I actually got mad at a game. If you know me well, I get mad easily. I almost forgot to mention that there is one and the only Captain Price. The Captain Price as a character is just so perfect. The new actor that portrays as Captain Price fits him perfectly, and fuck, it always felt amazing playing a mission where he's there to make sure shit doesn't go upside down or make shit go upside down. But I can't forget the fucking moment he made a reference to the first Modern Warfare game, which is this.
Just keep your gun on the rush.
Help got it.
then, Sergeant. On your feet, we are leaving!
Yes, Daddy, yes.
Aircraft inbound! Shit! They look... Bravo 6, come in. Bravo 6, what's your status?
Shit! What the hell happened? The ship's sinking! We've got to go, now!
6, come in, damn it!
Big Bird, this is Bravo 6, we're on our way out! On your feet, soldier! We are leaving!
This scene made me cream. But hey, here's a clip of me almost getting run over by a car in the mission. The villain of the game are all well done too. I mean, they're bad dudes. Like, you have to do bad things, and then this guy gets bobbed, and he also gets boofed. So yeah, the villains are dead now. But to be honest, that's all I got for the campaign. It wasn't too much, but I really wanted to talk about the multiplayer. Oof. The multiplayer is mixed for me. At first it was good, and then it was a disaster. The difference with this multiplayer than the other multiplayer modes in other Call of Duty games is that this one influenced and encourages camping. It's no surprise that there would be camping in the Call of Duty game, but here was crazy due to one perk, and it's called Ghost. So in previous Call of Duty games, Ghost is a perk that makes you invisible to UAVs, but will only make you invisible when you're moving around and being active, which is somewhat of a counter to camping. But in Modern Warfare, they just said nah, and you don't have to move at all to trigger Ghost, basically making you invisible to the minimap the whole game. It's weird because when the beta was live, there was no camping, but when the full game came out, there were just in every corner. But besides that, I want to continue with the bad and go on with the good. So it comes as no surprise that the COD fan base is filled with 9-year-old fetuses and 20-year-olds that are considered tumors to society. But what do these two have in common? I'll wait for your response. Nah, you took too long. But they are both toxic. If it's either in a search and destroy game or even a TDM, it's fucking everywhere. No matter what, you will get a nuke or a death threat from a guy in the game that's mad for no reason. To be honest, before Modern Warfare, I actually never experienced toxic people, which is surprising. It's probably good because I've never played multiplayer before Infinite Warfare because I wasn't good at all, and I'm still not, but like, I would usually only play the zombies mode instead since I'm good at zombies. But once COD World War II hit, not only did I get the Super Deluxe Edition, but I actually made some friends in school who had the game and like managed to convince me to play the multiplayer. So when I did, I had the most fun I ever had. At first, I wasn't good at all, but I got used to the weapons. I got the drift and understand why people found multiplayer fun. The next year, Black Ops 4 has come out, and I was decent in it. But this game this game was the first game I ever discovered toxic people, but also my last. It was some Hispanic dude who, I shit you not, threatened to behead me and sell my head to the cartel to face fuck my skull. Yeah, it was really funny, but it was also like I fucked with him the most and made fun of him, which made him even madder. He kept joining my gaming to get payback, but I always killed him, and I would always hear the game chat of him screaming until one point he just gave up and left the game and blocked me, which I found really fucking funny. But that was the first and last time I've ever actually really experienced a toxic person. Until next year when Modern Warfare came out. The toxic level is literally off the charts. It's even more than the radiation of fucking Chernobyl. It's in every match you're in. If it's either the enemy shitting on you or bringing up your KD or even your own teammates. But anyways, besides the toxic level of the game, the multiplayer is actually fun and funny, but it depends on how much fun you'll have, because the game, like many other Call of Duty games, is that this one also has skill-based matchmaking. If a game you happen to go 46-5, guess what, kid? Remember that time you had fun that much? Yeah. Well, now you're gonna be playing with the big boys, and from that score, you're gonna be going from 46-5 to 5-46. The skill-based matchmaking is crazy in this, and it doesn't even try to hide it. That it's in the game. Most developers try their best to not tell the player base that there's skill-based matchmaking in their game, but once they're a question, they will either lie or just avoid the question in total. Besides that, if you have ever played Modern Warfare on day 1 or even the first 4 months, there was a beast that dominated every lobby, and that beast was called the 725s. This thing has numbers for a fucking name, was overpowered in the game. The beta version of the 725 was fucking dog shit. It was so fucking bad. I guess the devs knew and gave it a little buff, and just how the pump, it was just like how the pump action was in Fortnite when it first released. This gun was a fucking sniper, and it was always 100% guarantee one shot at most ranges. This shouldn't have been overpowered, even after getting nerfed almost about 5 times, I'm pretty sure, in the span of 2 months. It still dominated, but I guess not as much. The 725s was also considered a toxic weapon, and usually in the game of S&D will just use normal weapons like MP5s or the M4A1s or dildos or anything that one person like, or any but once a person uses the 725, the whole lobby will use it. Or in a different scenario, if one team is losing, and the losing team will pull out the 725s to get an advantage. But then the aftermath would be people screaming at each other saying like, why'd you pull out the 725s, pussy, or get the 725s out of here. And in this gun in general, it just causes division in humanity. It's so fucking stupid. Another weapon that's recently been dominated the scene was a gun named the AS Val. Well, it did pre-patch. The gun was capable of penetrating any walls. If you played with this gun in hardcore, you would one-shot people through the walls, which is basically cheating. But obviously it got nerfed about a couple weeks later, but it was still good, but not as overpowered as it was before. To be honest, that's all the bad I have for the game, and now it's time to talk about the good. I had so much fun playing the multiplayer. Though this multiplayer is an abusive relationship, I can't help but always come back. The tier systems in this game would actually have a decent rewards and usually be worth buying the battle pass. And they made a good system where the DLC weapons would be free to all players once they've reached the tiers to unlock. And all I have to say to that is, good job, devs. Wait, what's that? During the second half of the season, it would be referred to as in season overload. And bring what the season has promised to bring, with new modes and new weapons and new playlists and just new shit in general that wasn't introduced in the beginning. At first, it scratched many heads because the prior DLC weapons were in the battle pass already. Where would the new DLC weapons go since there's no space for them to in the battle pass already? Then a scary discovery was made. You had to buy the weapons. But turns out that's actually not the way you get it. I lied. You could get it by doing a challenge for the gun. Like, for an example, you could have unlocked the Holger LMG by getting 5 kills in the smoke in 10 matches. Very simple. And that was another thing that the devs did right. They didn't lock weapons behind the paywall, unlike some game. But the devs didn't do the same treatment with the operator, sadly. If there was a new operator introduced in the Overload, then you had no choice but to actually purchase it. It's a shame. I wanted to be Nick though, but when he got first announced, only for him to be behind a paywall. But if you got lucky, you would get a variation of the operator skin in the battle pass. For an example, Rose. When she was introduced in the Overload of a season, she was behind the paywall, but she was also in the battle pass to obtain as well, but not in her default skin. She was in like this BDSM skin. Who knew she wanted to be kinky in the fucking battlefield? But it wasn't guaranteed if an operator you wanted would be in the battle pass, and sadly only the default operators got the most variations of their skins, which sucks. But besides that, the battle pass was very well done and pleased the player base. Back on the topic of multiplayer, the playlist every Tuesday will refresh, but that's normal. But the devs will bless us with 2 important and fan favorite playlists, which are Shipment and Shoe House 24/7. These 2 playlists were like the insta-kill to my double points. They were the peanut butter to my jelly sandwich. These were the torture to my cock and balls, and these were the toasters to my bathtub. These were beautiful but very chaotic. These were perfect for getting Damascus. Once you see Shipment in the menu, you would be ready to get a gun you haven't gotten gold yet and fucking go AWOL. But the reason I also say it's chaos, it's because some dickhead peoples would pull out full auto shotguns and you know, just fucking, and like LMGs and just fucking spray and pray, which would ruin the run for you if you were going to for camo challenges. But you could always just maneuver around and just fucking pull out another gun and put them in their place, which I always like to do. If I would go for gold for like a weapon and someone's just using a fully automatic shotgun or just an LMG spraying and praying, I just simply pull out my MP5, put them in their place, and then continue my gold camos for the next game. But anyways, the challenges are very fun to do, and the rewards for the challenges are really good too, to the point where you'll actually get some good weapon blueprints. Each season, a set of new challenges will get introduced and some will have good rewards. Another thing that they did good in general is the fact that they added so much detail up to everything, to kill streaks and their limitations and weapon details. The weapon details is just fucking amazing. It's never been done before in the other Call of Duty games. To be honest, it's not even that significant, but like the details are just so amazing. It's up to the point where like up to the AK having these delicious scratches, like it's seen every war, and up to the soldier you play as save the mags of the ones that still have bullets in them instead of actually throwing them out like an ungrateful piece of shit. And up to the lighting effects and shine on the gun. It's just amazing. This was also an awesome addition to Modern Warfare, and it's the executions. They are very gruesome. At first, again, the game did mostly focus on the realism in their game, but later in the game's life cycle, the game would add stuff that's not realistic. Like for example, these two executions right here, they're literally unrealistic, like pew pew. It shows a guy killing a man with finger guns. And at first, I thought it was a bug, but it's on purpose. Another execution that is unrealistic is, that at least comes to mind, is the Riley execution.
We're in control.
See you in hell. See you in hell.
Where the fuck did the dog come from, and where did it go? If you happen to accidentally watch the whole execution at a different angle than intended, you will see that Riley manifests from a smoke and literally disintegrates into thin air like a fucking ghost. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh! But besides that, the executions were amazing and satisfying. The greatest scenario is when you would get the jump on the fucking camper that wouldn't leave the spot and fucking execute him. Or just a sweet little revenge, like maybe a guy who's killed you mostly killed you, and finally you managed to get the jump on him and execute him. You just irritate him. It's just the best feeling ever. It's just amazing. This is basically the biggest fuck you in the world, and it just feels amazing to the toxic or just the regular people. Okay. The final thing I want to talk about in the game is the amazing and well done Gunsmith. At first, when it was first announced that the game would have a different creator class system and change the classic up to 10 attachment system, and promised that we'd be capable to put any attachments we wanted, and at first it scared me, because that would mean that there would be that one gun that would dominate the whole game and shit. But at the same time, I thought I can make a god gun and become a god. But I guess they must have realized that too, and would say that there'd be a limit on how many attachments we're capable of putting. We could still put any attachments we wanted. And it was cool because you could create variants. Like an example, you could turn the M4A1 to a classic M16, or you could turn the AK-47 to an RPD, or even the AK-74U, which again shows how much details they put in the game in the weapon systems in general, which is amazing. But in the end, there would be a game that would literally give you the option to put every attachment in one gun. Jerk. What the fuck, man? But anyways, that's all I want to talk about in the multiplayer. I'm sorry that if this sounded rushed, because I would come to the script every now and then, and sometimes I would forget what I'm writing about, or I just forget in general. I mean, this is just too early to apologize. I still have another thing to cover up, and which is Spec Ops. Okay, now let's do this. Let's do the quickie. Let's just do a quickie and pull this out. Spec Ops is absolutely ass, literally doo-doo water. The only thing I liked about Spec Ops is that it continues the story from the campaign. But besides that, this mode sucks ass. Let's talk about something that's actually worth talking about. Hallelujah. My favorite game mode out of all of them. Warzone. Warzone wasn't completely introduced on the beginning. It's not like Black Ops 4 where I actually don't remember if Black Ops actually came out day one in Black Ops 4. But anyways, Warzone didn't come out on day one. At first, day one, it was just multiplayer, campaign, and Spec Ops. And that's the reason why I went from campaign, multiplayer to Spec Ops, because I wanted to say it in order of ways of release dates, as in like usually the normal player would play the campaign first, and then go to the multiplayer, and then sometimes try the Spec Ops. Warzone would be introduced into the Modern Warfare game, and it was just so amazing. At first, it pulled off in Apex Legends, where the only way you could play Warzone is through trios. You were not capable of playing solos, duos, or 4 people. it was only trios. To be honest, that was a weird move because when the trailer that teased Warzone, which is literally the cutscene of season 2 when Ghost got introduced, you could literally see 4 people jumping off the plane, I'm pretty sure, and the whole place of Verdansk. Again, this was teased way back before Warzone was even a thing. I'm pretty sure it probably did get leaked at the time that there was going to be a BR in Modern Warfare, because I do remember hearing about leaks at the time, but this is before we knew that there was going to be a Battle Royale. To be honest, when I saw this scene, it was pretty much obvious that this is going to be the Battle Royale map. We just wouldn't know how big it was. That was just one section of this humongous map named Verdansk. And it's cool because Warzone, it also continues the story from the campaign and Spec Ops, which is really cool. They hit it in through these missions called Intel. You collect the intel, you discover new story parts, like more story arc basically of the whole story in general. And it's cool to the point where you find out that in the story, like the story of the game of Warzone is that the two teams of Coalition and Allegiance the Coalition, I forgot what the other one is. Yeah, I think it's Allegiance, and they would it's Allegiance, and they would work together and form a group named Armistice. But some bad guys working behind the scenes, someone known as Imran Zakhaev or his son Viktor Zakhaev. And what they did was some operators in Armistice are mercenaries, which are paid to hire. You know, they would do anything for money. And Zakhaev would pay off some of the mercenaries in the team to betray their Armistice and create a division, which worked. You know, telling from the season 1 cutscene, you could tell that once Nikto and Mara, they were supposed to be in the same team, but here they are fighting against each other. There's already been a division in it, and Imran Zakhaev's plan to divide Armistice was working. Some operators would go against each other even if they were in the same team because they were paid off. And yeah, there was just a division in general. And it's crazy too because recently the story has actually been wrapped up for Warzone, at least the Modern Warfare side of Warzone, because Cold War will get its own variation of Warzone. It'll be the same but just with Cold War lore in it, I guess. Because I guess Cold War and Modern Warfare storyline wise they're gonna be connecting somehow, and Warzone is like that middle part of the whole story in general. Recently the whole Warzone, the Modern Warfare side was just ended with it's always been teased every season that there's a nuke in Verdansk and someone's willing to set it off, which is obviously the Zakhaevs. And recently it showed the final cutscene. Sadly, there was supposed to be an event for this, but due to the coronavirus, shit has always been delayed. And sadly, the only thing they could have done to end the Warzone from Modern Warfare was you had to watch a cutscene, and there was no event, sadly. But you know, I'm pretty sure this brought a bunch of anger to the community, but it's okay. At least we got something. Something's better than nothing. That's what I believe, at least. I didn't care too much, but it shows Captain Price finally catching up with Victor, ending him off. I like, not sincerely, because to be honest, I still have theories that Viktor Zakhaev is still alive and not dead, because you know, like what many people say, it's basically on movie rules. If you don't see the dead body, that person's not dead. And I'm pretty sure that height that Captain Price threw Victor off was not too high for him to actually die. Maybe a couple of fractured bones, but not enough to kill a person. Unless they landed on their head, then they're dead. But besides that, I highly doubt that. But after a climactic fight scene, which literally ended in 2 seconds, Captain Price has put in the 4 digits and ended the nuke launch. And then fucking Soap McTavish was teased, which is really weird because I don't know how they're gonna fit in. There's not gonna be another season for Modern Warfare, at least, since it's all going for Cold War now. But that's the story of like Verdansk. Fucking like scuffed as fuck. I'm sorry, I rushed that one. But now, enough of the story lore. I want to talk about the gameplay itself. Warzone, it's been an upside down roller coaster, to be honest. It's no surprise that it's gonna have its fair share of campers. It's not even fair, it's fucking unfair. There's campers everywhere, dude. Either they're fucking in like a building with the HDR, or just like in a fucking like little thing with the double pump fire shotgun. Like, it's crazy. Every couple of months there'd always be a new meta. Like, for example, at first the meta was the Grau. that gun was just horrendous, man. That shit dominated everything. I'm pretty sure at first it was literally the M4A1 and the MP5, but after getting nerfs, it still dominates Warzone, but not as much. There's other better options out there, but the Grau was one of them. That one gun was crazy. They nerfed it, so there's more recoil, but it's still godly if you still use it. Then there's some other weapons like that one LMG. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember the fucking meta weapons. And recently, after all the other couple of meta weapons, there was even a sniper, a marksman rifle that was literally hit scan, which is fucking impossible. It even got nerfed, but it's still technically hit scan. It's just they nerfed it so like above like the 200-mile range, it has bullet drop, which is still fucking hit scan basically. But yeah, no. Recently, there's a new meta for Modern Warfare at least, which is literally the EBR. God, I've been seeing footage of that shit. Oh my god, it fucking dominates everything. But recently, because of, you know, Cold War and Modern Warfare trying to, you know, reunite the Warzone storyline together, just like that, the Warzone now has Cold War weapons in it. So not only does it have Modern Warfare weapons, it has Cold War weapons as well. And I was told that they tweaked the weapons a bit in the game, where like what they did is now the Modern Warfare weapons are weaker but have less recoil, but the Cold War weapons are way more powerful and have way more recoil, which is like, it's like one of those things where like you gamble. You either go for like a weak weapon with no recoil, or you go with a powerful weapon that has a shit ton of recoil. And ever since the Cold War weapons were introduced, I'm not gonna lie, I've been having mixed feelings with Modern Warfare. I would like to play a mode where it's just Modern Warfare weapons instead of the Cold War weapons, because there is a couple of guns that are dominating. And it's the new AR, I forgot what it's called, but it looks like the Odin almost, and the Mac 10, which is also referred to my friends as the Mac and Cheese. These two weapons freaking shred. Oh my god, man, I have footage of it right now, and no, it's just fucking crazy. Like, oh man, I want to talk about the playlist for Warzone. Every now and then, recently the playlists have been bland. When Cold War first came out, the playlist for Warzone was just bland as fuck. It would either be just fucking solos, duos, trios, or quads, or just plunder trios. It was bland. But before Cold War was even announced or like even thought about, the playlist for Warzone was very like crazy, because at first the new mode that came out was Plunder, which I had the most fun with my friends. It's a mode where you're supposed to have the most cash in the whole game, and just like, yeah, just have the most cash in general. You have unlimited lives and that's it. It's fun. It's a good way to level up your weapons if you want to go level them up. There would be like, they even made a Halloween playlist where like fucking just you could become a zombie and you could kill like people and turn them into zombies, and you have to be the last alive team that's not zombies standing, and you could get res. Like after killing a human, they drop like syringes, and you're supposed to collect 2 to become back into a human. It's very fun. I got my first win in the zombies in that zombie mode by accident. It was cool. I live streamed it. I'm not gonna try to look for the footage so I can show it, but like, just take my word for it. But the playlists every now and then for Warzone were sick. They even made like this teaser playlist for Cold War, where it was really sick. We're supposed to find Frank Woods, and he would give us a variant for the SKS. Forgot what it's called. It looked cool too, but I never used. I don't use SKS, so I never really tried it on to see how it's like. But after you find Frank Woods, after doing a couple of missions, I can't remember what, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to find intel, and it'll give you like codes and shit, and where you're supposed to go and where Frank Woods is located. But like after all of that, a cutscene will play. After, there's a time limit, and once the time limit is done, you get teleported somewhere randomly in the Warzone map. You're supposed to go into the stadium, and a broadcast system would play, and it would just be like, know your history, and it was a historical scene of something that actually happened in real world during the Cold War. I can't remember exactly what he was talking about. They were talking about nukes and shit. But once you reach, either if you reach the place or you don't, once the time limit is done, we got our first trailer, our first official trailer tease to Cold War, which was the craziest thing ever. And oh my god, I would replay that playlist like every fucking time I get the chance. I'm pretty sure the playlist was available for like 2 days in a row until it finally got taken down, which is okay. Obviously, it sucks for the people that didn't get to experience it, but again, it wasn't gonna be a permanent thing, and we all knew that. It was just gonna be like a limited time thing, which is fine. It happens. To be honest, I feel like that's all. Recently, they've added like a playlist for Warzone, which is Cold War based. It's just Cold War implemented mostly, but it's still Warzone. It's just they added Alcatraz, which is known as Rebirth Island. It's the same thing from Blackout when they added Alcatraz. It's the same. It's basically the same thing, same shit. It plays the same way as Blackout. You get lives. I'm pretty sure in this game you don't have limited lives. You have like unlimited lives until like a certain point where you're just like, oh hey, guess what? Like you can't spawn in anymore. The reviving system is shut down. It's like the Gulag, where like at a certain point in the Warzone, you'd be like, oh yeah, Gulag is closed. If you had an extra life and you could have gone to Gulag, well guess what? It's gone now. You only have one life and that's it. You take it or leave it. But how the game works is like, as long as everybody's not wiped, you can still play the game. Like let's say for example, if I'm playing with me and Oscar, and like Miguel and Oscar both die, as long as I stay alive for the time left they have to respawn, we can still always go back into the game. But if Oscar and Miguel die and I die as well, that's an immediate game over, and we don't respawn back. That's it, no more, and we had to play the next game. But I shit you not, this game mode it's the funnest I've ever had. Sadly, it's only a trio thing again, but like, it's the greatest. I had the greatest time playing this game mode. It's so fucking fun. The first 2 times I played it, it was literally ass. I fucking hated it because I would either get spawn killed or literally get shot off in the air, and I had no fun whatsoever. But once I played with Miguel and Oscar, I was having the greatest time of my fucking life. I was getting like kills. Sadly, I'm not dropping them 20 bombs or shit. I'm not that good, but I would at least almost get to the double digits. Like I'd at least almost get up to 10 kills or more, but less than like 13, which is fine. I'm proud of myself. But yeah, that's the playlist of Warzone that I can remember at least. To be honest, I've had the most fun with Warzone, man. Warzone, that mode would always bring me back to Modern Warfare. If I wasn't in the mood for playing multiplayer, I knew I was always in the mood for playing Warzone. I'd usually always play it solos or with some friends if I'm lucky enough that they're actually down to be playing it at the time. But no, man, Warzone was always the best way to level up weapons. It was the best way to tier up faster if you needed to tier up. It was just the most fun I've ever had. I did have some like off feelings about it, because at the time I did prefer Blackout more than Warzone, but once I started playing Warzone more, I just fell in love with Warzone. Warzone was just the greatest mode ever. Like, it was just, oh man, it was a good thing they added that shit in there. Just kind of wish they could just change up some little tiny things, but besides that, this was just like, it was crazy, man. Obviously, Warzone wouldn't be Warzone. There's still some bad things too in it. Like, for example, the games would glitch out to the point where, like, sometimes I remember there was a point where, like, this was only for PC. Sadly, like, I mean, thank God it didn't affect me, but sadly it was only for PC players that played Warzone. But there'd be times where, like, the game wouldn't render the freaking gun properly, and it'll become like this humongous, like, fucking obsidian, like, crystal thing that's scary, that would block your whole screen. You could not aim whatsoever, and once you had it, you can't play the game because you can't see what you're shooting at, and you're an easy target, because, like, from the other people's perspective, they could see that thing too, and you're like an easy target. Though it's hard for them to hit you as well, but at least they know that you're there. So, like, if you're hiding in the bush, they're just like, is that a black box in the bush? Oh, that's a guy hiding there. It exposed your position very badly, and sadly, this game doesn't have an anti-cheat system. Like, it's not even if it did, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. There's cheaters every game. I usually always play Warzone with crossplay off due to the fact that I don't want to face against a hacker. Like, it just ruins the fun for me, because I'm out here trying to get a win, but how can I get a win if this hacker just shot me like 1,000,000 in-game miles away from, like, where he is? Like, that just makes it less fun for me. And you know, it just sucks having to, like, have to play with hackers. I mean, I haven't played Warzone in a while, so I haven't suffered a hacker concert. Like, I haven't like had face to face with a hacker yet. But if it does ever happen, it's just gonna ruin everything for me, and I have to like end it. I have to like leave the game so I could just find a better one with no hackers in it, or I just turn off crossplay in general. But yeah, you know, obviously Warzone also has its bad things. It's not all just goody two shoes. It has its bads, but it did mostly good than it did bad, and I'm glad to say that because not many BRs could be successful. At least some games variations of BRs could be very successful. Tetris. And so that's it. That's Modern Warfare 2019. This game, I don't know where I'd rate it from 1 to 10. I'd probably rate it an 8 out of 10. I still love this game. This game is good. I mean, a bunch of people don't like it, but at least I did. My friends rather preferred this game than fucking Cold War. I think, I don't know. I hate Cold War. I would do this same thing for Cold War, just not yet. I'm gonna wait until like the next game gets like released, like I'm doing now, where like Warzone is already like, I mean Cold War is already released, and like I'm talking about Modern Warfare in the year after it came out. So I'm gonna do the same thing for Cold War, but I don't think I'm gonna do it that well because I don't play the multiplayer. I'm pretty sure if I went to go check how much time I have on multiplayer, it'd be like about less than 7 minutes. I don't touch it, and I'd probably, if you check my zombies time, it'd be like about a month already of like just straight up playing zombies without like stopping to sleep or shit. But yeah, thank you for watching and shit. Again, I'm sorry if this sounds very rushed. To be honest, I should have taken my time with this, but like I had to like do it like every now and then. I couldn't just wait next year because I also want to do another video idea about 2020 and I don't have much time left. Today is the 27th, so if I play my cards right and if I write a script of the video idea I want to do, I have 4 days to complete it. And if I don't do it, I'll still publish it. I'll just have to, hopefully to God, publish it before the first week of January ends. Anyways, I'm sorry for rambling. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.